Hello everyone and welcome to the final and concluding aspect of our Excel tutorial with Youdevhub. Now this is one of the most important things to consider for me in the whole of this tutorial series, because this is actually where we get to see how to put some of those skills to use. Now today's tutorial we're going to be talking about data cleaning, and data sets when it's been delivered to you comes in various formats and various typographies, just like I have tried to explain and establish that with you before, that due to different formats of different data entry officers and all of that, they get to mess up data a whole lot, and it's your job as a data analyst to first prep and clean up the data set to ensure that the data is well fixed and arranged before you begin to work on it. Now, you might be a data analyst interfacing with database, and because of the format of the database construction, when you want to work on it with SQL and all of that, it might be difficult to use. So the first thing you have to do is you have to format and clean up your data in order to give you accurate results. Now, if you look at this data set that we're using, this is a data set about our past presidents of United States of America and all of that. When we are looking at this, we can see that we have a data set where this is written in proper format. We see this is written in small letter. We see this is no caps, and so many mix up and all of that. We can see on this prior column, we see that there are lots of data sets that are irrelevant, they are duplicate data. We can see on this vice that they are all scattered and arranged, and we can even see that in this salary is appearing in currency format, and all those things are things that can mess up and destroy your database whenever you want to upload the data set to your database. And that is why data cleaning as a data analyst is very important. It will be very wrong to just assume that any data given to you is properly arranged and clean. So you have to take up responsibility to make sure you clean your data and preserve your data in a format that will be very useful for your database and give you safe entry. So to do that, the first thing that can easily be done and easily be spotted out is to identify duplicate data. Now, due to different and several entries of several entry officers, or maybe getting a questionnaire, uploading the files and all of that, it's possible that they might have duplicated the data. It's possible someone might have entered an entry before and not know he has entered it and enter it again. So the first thing you need to look out for is duplicate data. Now, in order to do that, you head up straight to the data menu, and if you look right here, you can see where we have remove duplicate. Remove duplicates. And you can click on remove duplicates. When you do that, it's going to select and highlight the whole column, and it's even telling you, where do you want to select the duplicates to be removed. You can choose to leave it at selecting all. You can choose to remove a particular column to select from and all of that. But now we just want to check if there are duplicates all across the whole workbook. So we allow it to do the default, and we click on OK, and it's telling you that one duplicate value found and removed, 46 unique value remains. Note that count may include empty cells and spaces, etc. Right? So it found one duplicate file. Now, how do we know which one is it? It didn't tell us which one it is, but since we know this data set, right? If I undo that, we can see that we actually have Barack Obama here duplicating as 2, and that duplicate we did, or to remove the duplicate, allowed us to remove all the duplicate, right? Okay, so if we click and do again, we can select that and click on OK, and it duplicates the file, and we'll see that the Barack Obama is gone. That's the first step. Now, there are so many other things. We can go ahead to the second step, which is changing the cases of the letter. Now, we can see that these presidents are presidents that carry unique values, right? And we want to represent them in a real and good manner, right? And that is bringing us to actually see and change what value they occur in, right? Okay, so we can choose to change their names and say, okay, we want them to have uh, uppercase, we want them to be lower cases and all of that. And one of these things is one of the problems data analysts face, how to change cases. A lot of people don't know how to change cases in uh, Excel. So what I would do to do that, because I can't make the changes on this, the first thing I would do is to insert a new column. Sorry, I click on this because columns always insert to the left. So I have another new column here, and I can name this column, say president edited, right? So now what do I want to do? I can choose, depending on how your company requires the data, you can choose to leave it in uppercase, you can choose to leave it in lowercase, you can choose to be in proper case. Proper case is a case like this where you have every first letter appearing as a capital letter. So we can choose to say equals to upper, select the text, close the parentheses and click on enter, and it chooses all in uppercase. And we can just choose to draw downwards and see that everything appears in uppercase. We can choose to make these uh, lower and run that and see that everything appears in lowercase. But I think the best one would be to leave it in proper case. So we can leave it at proper and run it down and see that everything is now in proper case. Now that's one side and that is complete. We can also come to this prior, see that this prior contains a lot of information that is not actually really needed, right? And just look like a bunch of junk, and we don't actually need that proper case. If I go ahead and open it, this prior just contains a whole lot of information that might not be needed. So there is no predefined formatting for that. I'm going to leave that alone. And we come to this party, and we can see that this party has some unique values. We have some and all of that. So how do we get to know what to do with this? Something, a data like this that has so different values and all of that. We can choose to apply a filter. We can choose to, okay, let me just control that. You can choose to select all and apply a filter. So I can choose to filter it by to select the different filters. Now we can see that we have democratic, Republican, democratic, we have a federalist, we have Republican, we have Republicans, we have Whig and blank. So let's first start with the first one. I'm going to deselect all. So this Democratic Republican, I may not touch that because it looks like a valid party because more than one values have that. So let's deal with this Democratic and Democratic. Looks like a typographical error. I can select the two and click on it. Now we can see that we have it like this. So we can look for which has the error. We can say that this has the error. This is Kartik, right? It has the error, and I can choose to copy it, and I can choose to copy and replace, and we'll see that they are both democratic. Now, if we look closely at this democratic, right, we'll discover that we are having these two values the same, right? Let me see, let me highlight them. These two values, this Woodrow Wilson and this other value, they are both having the same value. So we can even go back and run our duplicate data, right? Click on OK, and I'm very sure it's still going to find one more unique value and replace that. So okay, so those are things you can look out for to see if you can check. Now, why are we not looking at this Grover Cleveland and this? That's because both they have different priors. That is, he ran for two tenures. That's why his name is appearing twice. they actually add different vices and they ran for 210 or so. That is, we're not going to be concerned with that. So since we are done with this democratic, we can come back and choose another party. So we can see that the name has already not been duplicated again. We can choose to, we have Republican and Republicans. So which means that is also a typographical error, and we can see it like that. And with that being said, we can change this and change that to that, and we already have that sorted out. So we'll go to the next one, which is this wig and wig. Okay, so we can see that for so many reasons or for no reason, this just contains a whole bunch of nonsense that we don't need. So we can just choose to correct that, and we can see that that has been sorted out. This blank, well, let me see what this blank is. So this blank is just blank, right? Just contains some blank value, so we don't really have a problem with that. So we can go back to selecting all, and we have all the thing properly done. So we are done with cleaning that data. We can move to the next one. We see device, right? That device is all scattered up. We have different spacing issues all over the vice, and the best way to do that, like we said in our previous tutorials, the best way to do that is to use the value called, let me give this column a name, vice edited. Those formula to sort this out is the trim formula, if we remember, and we say equals to trim. Trim is going to be very useful because it removes the white spaces or the empty spaces in between text and gives you a properly gotten value. So if I'm going to do this, select trim and run it down, we see that it's so intuitive that it removes even spaces between lines, even spaces between letters, spaces before any empty space, and we have it all prepped out to be very, very clean. Then that's that for that. And we come to the next one, which is the salary. Now, when entering data into database, especially things that has to do with values of numbers, it's very important to make sure that the numbers goes into the database as a plain number, not as any format. If not, it's going to see it as a text, right? So if you're going to send this database now and it's going to be uploaded into the database, right? Not every time will your database see it as a number. Like for here now, the data is actually translating it as a number, but the format is coming out as a currency. But for you to be safe and sure, it's best you change the format. So we can go ahead and click on this and go back home, and since it's a text, we can choose the currency and change it to a number, right? But we still have this 00, so we can choose this to decrease the decimal and leave it as a number so that we are safe and sound that okay, it's going to enter the database as a number and we are safe with that. Now we can come to the date values. Now date is something that we always give people problem, right? Date is something that we always give issues in the way it is being written and all of that. Now if you look closely at this date, we can see that we have this as a long date, we have this as a short date, and if you click on this date, we are seeing it here the way it is as a short date, whereas in reality it's showing here. So whenever you're trying to import the data, the database may not be able to recognize whether it's a short date or a long date, and it's up to you, the data analyst, to clean up the data and see how to get the format better into it. So without waste of time, that since we know it's just two values now, we can choose to select the whole column just as usual and change the date to a short date, right? Which means it's going to highlight everything. Now, why did I choose to? I can easily just come and highlight this to go ahead and change it to a short date, but because we don't know the different places in which the data might occur, that is why I am saying just select the whole column and apply that format across it so that we can get rid of anything that might occur. And that is basically all for that. Now, but now we have to prepare this data for upload, we can see that places where we have this vice and the vice edited, we can see that we can't give it, we have to leave, we have to correct it and have only one value. So to do that, we want to copy this guy. So we'll click on it, Ctrl Shift down to highlight all, Ctrl C to select, and when we come here and we want to paste, if we paste it directly, we'll see that Ctrl C and come here and say Ctrl V. We see that if we paste it, it's giving us a different value because we are writing a formula that actually picks from a particular work. So we can't do that. So let's go back. So we have to find a way to, after we've copied it, click on a control and come down, and we copy it, Ctrl C. We have to come back here, and when we want to paste it, we should click on our right click. Right, when right click, it brings up the option, and we'll come to this option that chooses paste as a value. Right, so we are pasting it as a value now, and that way it doesn't take the effect of this again. Right, so we can come here and now select this, right click on it and delete the column, and we have this safe. All right, so we can also come to this place and also do the same thing, Shift Control our down arrow key to select all, Ctrl C to select, to copy, come here to the first column, also right click and click on paste value. I'll paste the value, and that is pasted. Then we can go ahead and delete this one, and we have it like this. Now, like I said, this guy contains information that we might not need, and henceforth it is probably not longer needed. It is very, very important to keep a copy of your original data set so that you don't end up messing the original one and having to try to find a new one when you don't have. So a very good practice is to always duplicate and have a copy of your original data set. I should have said that from the beginning. So it's to always have a copy of your data set first before you work with your data set. So right click, I delete this guy, and we have it all set. And okay, we have a column here that doesn't actually tell any story that we want, because it's just a duplicate value, and probably since it's gotten from the database or somewhere, it's just like an ID of some sort. So I can just right click and make do with that. So we have a more prepared data now, the serial number, the president, the party, the vice, salary, date of the day, and all of that. And this is how we have given our data set a standardized cleaning. We have cleaned this data, and wherever this data is going to be uploaded into or stored into, we are very sure that it's not going to give the database any issue. So it's very, very important as data analysts that when you see any data set, before you work with it, always try to clean it to be sure there are no duplicates, there are no wrong entries, there are no letters that need to be trimmed, the date formats are accurately correct, the payment infos are in number formats, and there are no duplicate records because of name and everything. So we have basically carried out all the exercise we've been talking about since the beginning of this tutorial, and this is the final one. In the next video, I'm going to be showing you a full project course on what not to do, and how to take a full project on a real live data set and work with it. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video.